Hello everyone, my name is Mariah and welcome to Yoga with Mariah. So today we are going to talk about Adho Muka Svanasana. Adho Muka Svanasana is the Sanskrit name for downward facing dog. Now downward facing dog has many benefits to it, along with building up confidence. It strengthens the upper body, builds more range of motion in the shoulders, it stretches the hamstrings, the calves, and relieves lower back if you're doing the alignment properly. There are some risk factors in downward facing dog, which is the wrists, the shoulders, and overstretching the hamstrings. So today we are going to work on the alignment for downward facing dog, and I will also give you a modification with 2 blocks as an option. All right, so we are going to get started in our practice. So tie your hair back, get into something comfortable, and we'll get started. But before we start our downward facing dog, I'd like to just instruct a little bit on the hand positioning from this direction. So when you have your hands shoulder distance apart and your palms are flexed, you should be able to draw a line from your middle finger all the way to your shoulder, and that's shoulder distance apart. Now, if you're more muscular, you can always separate your hands a little bit wider than your shoulders. And then from here, your pointer finger should be facing the ceiling or the front of the room. And if you have tight shoulders, you'd rotate your hands out. If you find that your hands are rotated in your downward facing dog, you'll notice that my arms are internally rotating, which can cause a lot of impingement in the shoulders. So we always want to externally rotate the arms, so then we have better mobility in our shoulders. All right, so let's get started in our downward facing dog. So we'll go into a tabletop position first. So our wrists underneath our shoulders, our knees hip distance apart. We'll look at our hands to make sure that they are shoulder distance apart and that our index finger, our pointer finger, is facing the front of the room. If you have tight shoulders, you can rotate them out. And then walk your hands about a couple inches forward. So you'll be in like a wider tabletop. And just make sure that you root down into the hands. So more weight into the finger pads. Then you'll tuck the toes and lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Now, if you're rounding in your upper back and you have tight hamstrings, and this is what you look like, then you'll root down into your hands and find that energy that presses up through the arms. Bend your knees, send your hips up towards the ceiling, and gently press your chest forward towards your thighs. This is if you're rounding in your upper back. Now, you can stay here and work on this. This is perfect in your downward facing dog as long as we keep the integrity of the spine nice and long. If you have more flexibility and you're in an advanced posture, or you'd like to work on the full downward facing dog, you'll press both thigh bones back to release the heels down towards the mat. Now, take a few breaths here in Adho Muka Svanasana. Now root down in the circumference of your hand, put a little bit more weight in the finger pads of the fingers. Lift the forearms off the mat and firm the outer arms in. Lengthen the tailbone away from the crown of the head and press both thigh bones back to release the heels down. Now you'll gaze between the feet to lengthen the back of the neck. One more breath here. And then release the heels down, come into tabletop position. Now, in downward facing dog, there can be a lot of pressure on the wrists and the upper shoulders or the upper back. So here's a modification that you can do at home and work on this, or even in your yoga studio because they'll have the blocks. So place the blocks at the front of your mat and have them shoulder distance apart. And then from here, we'll come back into tabletop position, but with our hands on the block. Make sure that the pointed finger is facing the front of the room. And have the heel of the hand gently resting a little bit on the edge of the block so you can have that grip. So firm the outer arms in, tuck the toes, and then lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. And this place less weight on your wrists and your upper body. And you can work on this modification at home or at your yoga practice. And then just do a few breaths here. And then come down onto your hands and knees. So that was just one modification for downward facing dog. There are many others, like using a wall, using a blanket underneath your heels in downward facing dog to lift the heels off. But it's up to you which one works for you. But there you go for one of the modifications. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. All right, everyone, that was Adho Muka Svanasana, downward facing dog. Please like my video below, subscribe to my channel, and we will see you next Thursday. Bye, everyone.